Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Iron Man 3 1/6 scale figure unboxing and retro review. That's right, we're taking a step back in time and re-reviewing the Iron Man Mark 17 Heartbreaker. One of my personal favourite suits. Yeah, I love these retro reviews. It gives me an opportunity to go back and, fingers crossed, make a better video than I did the first time around. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button for more info on Justin's Collection Plus, the channel membership. As for the box art, yeah, it's simple enough. We've got the Mark 17, yes, that's the actual figure, then Iron Man 3 and Heartbreaker. On the side of the box, the exact same thing. On the back, all of the warnings and legal info. On the inside, we do have another piece of artwork with an image of the Heartbreaker and a quote saying, "The house party protocol, sir." Yes, Jarvis, we are going all in. I've picked up Star Boost and Shotgun, so if you're a fan of Hot Toys plastic Iron Man figures from Iron Man 3, stay tuned, there is a lot more on the way. As for Heartbreaker, first in-hand impressions are, yeah, this guy feels a lot lighter as compared to the Mark 46 I reviewed recently. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, what a classic. Back in the day, pretty much the entire line came with this very style of display base. It's round, it kind of looks like an arc reactor. It's nice and chunky, you've got a bunch of silver dry brushing around the edges, plus multiple translucent sections. Now you may be thinking, ooh, does that mean this display base lights up? Unfortunately, no. On the underside, you can see what used to be a battery compartment, but Hot Toys decided, no, we're going to seal them up, but use the very same mold. So it's just as chunky as the originals that did have electronics inside, but this one is completely hollow. And then up top we've got a dynamic flight pole plus a spring-loaded waist clamp. Now we don't really get a ton of stuff here, and that kind of makes sense, seeing as though we didn't see a ton of Heartbreaker either. He didn't have the most screen time in the world. Tony, I don't think, ever actually wore the suit. So no Tony Stark head sculpt and no swap out weaponry. I would have absolutely loved to have seen blast effects, but no. We got repulsor blasting hands where the linkages between each finger are painted in gold, and fully articulated hands where those linkages are unpainted. What we are going to do now though is get Heartbreaker himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Yeah. This guy looks really different. He's kinda big and bulky and retro all at the same time, but that's why I think I love this figure. Now he's got the massive shoulder pads, the super interesting looking helmet, there's a ton of gold here, there's a ton of silver and gunmetal and red. It comes together beautifully. I don't know why I got rid of this guy back in the day. I said I was doing a plastic Iron Man figure detox. That's craziness. This figure was never made again in diecast. I regretted selling him. I am so happy he's finally back in the collection. But none of that info actually helps you. The figure himself looks good. The proportions are on point. He's got that V taper to the upper torso. He's kind of built like a bodybuilder. And if you're putting together an Iron Man collection, I think it's safe to say that this guy, as I said before, is absolutely going to stand out because he's so darn different. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the helmet first. It's super different, it's super unique, and that is why I love it. You've got these big pieces kind of like vents around the sides, some panel lines up the top and around the front. The choice of gold is interesting. It's not that soft champagne gold, it's a little bit more saturated. But in my opinion, it absolutely works here. You do, of course, have the hot rod metallic red, and it's suitably shiny, plus some very subtle chipping around the edges to make it look that little bit more weathered. I also like the choice of silver. It's kind of this weathered gunmetal color, but it is a base layer of silver, and it has this metallic shine, so when the light hits it, it looks stunning. Even though this guy is plastic, so far, yeah, he looks really good. Around the back, there's a lot to look at here. We've got multiple thrusters both on the arms and on his back, and this kind of gunmetal harness that connects up to his arc reactor. Now I can only imagine that these thrusters kind of propel him forward as the unibeam blast would be pushing him back, to stabilize him just a little. You have more of that gunmetal silver with some black shading to once again make it look nice and weathered, plus a ton of chipping around the edges, something that Hot Toys didn't really do with a ton of their plastic suits, but in my opinion it makes them look way better. Now around the front, he has an absolutely enormous arc reactor. I do have the lights turned on, you can see it's fully detailed. And his eyes, by the way, I didn't mention it, they're turned on too. Now, the button cell batteries that came included with him died immediately, and you all know I don't love button cell batteries. Hopefully going forward, if we get a die-cast version of this guy sometime down the line, then yes, they can go with USB. He also has some lights on the side, kind of like a bleed-through effect from the arc reactor. Both sides are lit up very nicely. And in low light, this guy glows a treat. His arms are absolutely massive. You've got these big articulated shoulder pads with some detail hidden underneath, and back in the day, their Iron Man suits weren't as seamless as they are today. So there is some gapping, yes, you can see through them, but in the right pose, it's kind of a non-issue. Now he's got that thruster on his bicep, done in that same silver with the gunmetal wash over the top, some chipping around the edges, just like the rest of the armor. The red is nice and metallic, you can see the arm is a little floppy on mine. Fingers crossed yours doesn't have the same issue. Now, speaking of issues, Hot Toys almost did away with all the rubber. You have these sections right here that are rubber, and yes, they are starting to fade. And these sections in the wrist area are also fading. They used to be the same color gold as the rest of the suit, but as you can see, they're now a lot softer. Now, it's not the biggest deal for me personally, it's kind of a small area, but these up the front, yeah, super annoying. Hot Toys, these could have very easily been plastic, but no, you had to go with rubber. Luckily, his hip skirt area isn't rubber, it's fully articulated, it's all plastic. So that means there's no risk of the pink panty issue. I guess with this guy you can call it the pink ab issue. It's not super severe as of yet, but yeah, it's starting to fade very rapidly. This guy was brand new in the box when I got him, and now that he's been exposed to some fresh air, yeah, those are getting a little pink. Coming down to the legs, more metallic red, a ton more chipping, plus gold, and around the back, more silver. You can see as the light hits this guy, yeah, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell on display that this guy is plastic rather than metal. You also have this black soot-like shading around the front, and inside those pieces just a little bit more detail. Now, around the back, it looks pretty seamless, but when you bend the knee, this piece tucks inside to maximize your range of motion. Then this cover piece comes down to hide any unsightly gapping. Even back in the day on their plastic figures, articulation and engineering was a key focus. You do have some more thrusters with some more shading and silver dry brushing. Then of course down here for the feet, they are suitably chunky as well. More silver chipping, plus on the underside, some sculpted in detail. Unfortunately no peg port for blast effects, and they're not clear translucent either. It would have been cool if they did include blast effects, cause this guy comes with a flight stand, but nevertheless, the detail is still sculpted really well. For a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have Heartbreaker alongside Silver Centurion, two super unique suits from Iron Man 3, both made of plastic, both part of the House Party protocol. Yeah, they look really good together. I like seeing these diverse and different suits standing together. In the display, it makes for a more interesting collection, and overall, they just look really cool. Now, Heartbreaker is a little bit taller, but also he's a lot bigger and bulkier. He has a ton more gold, plus that arc reactor is massive. Going over articulation, do bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be just a little bit more careful. Starting off with the head sculpt, there's a ball joint at the base of the helmet and another at the base of his neck. Looking forward and back, swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there. They will go forward and back, swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow, that gets you 290, and of course a ball joint for the wrist peg. The torso can be extended, crunching forward and back, swivel and pivot side to side. The legs can be dropped down. As you can see, this side is now a lot lower than the other. These panels can move up and out of the way to maximize your range of motion. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee, that gets you just past 90, a double ball peg down here for the ankle, plus, of course, toe articulation. Wrapping up on Hot Toys Iron Man Mark 17 Heartbreaker from Iron Man 3. Going into this, I was really excited. I've already owned this figure in the past, I knew exactly what to expect, but nothing could prepare me for seeing this guy in person again after all these years. He's still really good. He's big, he's bulky, he's not super heavy because he's made of plastic, and he's not perfect either. Yes, I've gushed. I've said how well he's painted, how he's got some hidden and very clever engineering, but there are a couple of things that you do need to be aware of. Number one, the rubber. He's got rubber for the wrists and rubber for his abs. Yes, the paint is likely to fade over time. Not ideal, something that can be fixed, but as I said, something you need to be aware of. Other than that, loose joints are a big issue. Mine is kind of a little bit top heavy and likes to fall over, but other than that, if you want something super different, super unique, but that's still very Iron Man, this is it right here. If you know what to expect going in, I reckon you're going to be pretty darn happy with Heartbreaker. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.